Train by day, Kyle Wigginton podcast by night, all day.
Wow.
That's what you look like.
My hair's on crack today.
I think it looks dope.
I put like 20 minutes into it.
I mean, that's a lot of time.
No, I usually put in an hour.
On your hair?
Yeah.
Jesus. Vam.
Yeah, the guys joke around, like mostly my conservative friends, which are the majority of my friends. They're like, oh, he's at the salon right now. When I'm late for anything, he's like, oh, there's your salon, like, hold you up, so.
When it's interesting to look at you, one might think that you're not conservative.
Yeah, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
My friend Tiernan, that my bass player that I was going to bring over, he's even more emo looking than me. And he's hardcore conservative.
I think I've met him before, right?
Yeah, he comes here with me sometimes.
Yeah.
So if he wasn't, passed out right now, he would be here talking about gun rights and free speech and all this stuff.
And he's the same way. He doesn't look like a conservative at all. Yeah.
I think that we're kind of the next generation, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, before like the whole, that field of politics has been dominated by, Bible Belt type of, people.
Well, people that look like me.
And war hawks. And thank God that's the thing of the past now too,
And so here's the difference in the world we live in today. Because I'm like nothing, right? But when someone will look at me and go, this guy is a conservative, but I'm nothing. And then they look at you and go, well, this guy's not a conservative, but then you are. And then look at certain women and they're like, this is a woman. And it's like, no, it's actually a man. And you look at men and you're like, no, this is actually a woman. Like, you never know what you're going to get these days.
You don't know what you're going to get.
You just don't know.
I think it's a wonderful thing, personally. Yeah, that's a weird issue right there. The man-woman thing. What is a man? What is a woman? I don't even want to like touch it. Like, that's not my field of whatever. I feel like if you want to be called something, like, then go ahead and like, like be called whatever you want.
Absolutely.
Wear whatever you want. Like self-expression, that's fine.
Well, that's the beauty of this bar.
But when it comes down to like playing sports and shit, like, I don't know.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah.
I don't even get into that. Like, I'm like, I don't know. You guys figured that out. It's not for me to figure out.
Well, it's not for me to figure out, but I do have an opinion on it. It's cheating.
I don't know. I'm not going to go that far because I just don't know too much about it. I have like one trans friend.
What do you mean you don't know anything? Look at me. If I said I identify as a woman and went and started playing against women in sports, do you think that would be fair?
I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know.
My God. You have an opinion on fucking on Putin.
Yeah, but
why can't you have an opinion on this?
Because don't they like take like hormones to become, whatever, or?
Well, I mean, even if
I don't know.
Even if I did start taking hormones.
It's just fucking sports, It's just a sport.
But it's not though.
Yeah, I know. It's some people's lives. Yeah.
Like, even if I did start taking hormone blockers right now, like, it's not going to change the fact that I'm, that I went through puberty as a man.
Yeah, I get it.
Once again, I don't know the science behind it, but I do have an opinion. And I think that's what's beautiful about this country is you can have an opinion on whatever the fuck you want.
You can.
Yeah. So it's so funny. The last time you were on here, so many people reached out to me about your podcast.
No way.
And that never happens.
No way. Really?
Yeah, dude. They were like, this guy fucking stupid. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I'm like, dude, like, come on the podcast and debate him then.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have the receipts to back up everything I said.
Yeah.
I may have got a couple details wrong because I don't, my memory going on memory, but I have 300 pages, 300 PDF files for all this stuff. I don't know.
But like, who cares, man? You're here.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're not. I wish they were here.
No, they're anonymous. What do they call them? Keyboard warriors?
Trolls.
Yeah. That's why I think every time someone posts a comment on one of these videos, I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, come on the podcast and talk to me.
But one of them, though, was one of your friends, though, wasn't it?
It was, yes. I mean, like, he's an acquaintance. He's not really a friend, but...
Well, he's not anymore now you said that.
No, I mean,
he's
like,
watching it going, what? Acquaintance, what?
Well, no, I hope he... Like, I would love for him to come on. Okay. I have an issue, but I understand why they do what they do. So this guy came on the podcast one time. It was an anonymous podcast because he works with the medical field. Okay. And he wanted to come on and talk about medical issues that we have in the world. But he understands that if he does that,
could lose his job or
lose his livelihood. Yeah. Yes. So I get why he wanted to come on that way. So I understand that. But at the same time, like, don't email me an opinion if you don't want to come on the podcast and talk about it.
Yeah. Just Say no. Just say no.
Well, just don't tell me.
Don't waste it.
Keep it to yourself. Because it's you're wasting my time.
Skip that topic. Yeah.
Yeah, like I have no need for it. But yeah, so how do you? I mean, one of the things you're very heavy on is politics. So how do you feel about the election and the results?
I'm happy with the results. Definitely happy with it. I'm sad that it kind of came down to this. I think we deserve better. There's a handful of things that I don't like about Trump. In fact, it's limited to 5 things, really, probably. But I'm definitely.
Well, can you tell us the 5 things?
Yeah, sure. He gave Javelin missiles to Ukraine, and they went into the hands of Bandera Nazi, extremists. There was the huge tax cut to the wealthy. Let's see, what was the other one? Or I just had one in my head, and I just forgot it.
I put you on the spot.
Oh yeah, he put out. Yeah, he banned flavored vape pods or whatever Juul or. I didn't like that. Yeah, I mean, come on, freedom. You can't have freedom. Like, it doesn't go both ways.
Hey, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. You should be able to do whatever you want to in this country. That's freedom.
Yeah, well, as long as you're not hurting anyone.
Yeah, I mean, like drugs and things. Like if it's your body,
exactly.
Like, yes,
exactly. And I can't remember now.
But I mean, I think those are things.
They're not that important, though.
But I think these are things that my Democrat friend would agree with you on. So I don't think that you guys have that wildly different views. He was simply, whenever he was saying the Overton window, he's trying to shift the Overton window.
I mean, I just think we deserve better, but Biden is just so bad that he makes Trump look like, a god,
But the election was with Kamala.
Well, yeah, same thing, pretty much.
I agree. I think she's a little dense.
Proxy, she's the proxy of Biden, who's a proxy of, Obama and Hillary. They're still run that, clown show, but they suck so bad, I mean, what were they thinking, they did the same mistakes as last time. They campaigned on, the first woman and the gender thing. And I think how many times there was like a spliced video on YouTube of Kamala calling Trump a misogynist and a racist and all that stuff. And he's not either, And
right.
It's just that's not a winning strategy,
Yeah, they leaned in heavy to that grab him by the pussy thing.
And Trump, he campaigned on ending the war in Ukraine. I think that's his biggest thing that he campaigned on.
How do you feel about that? Even though he gave them missiles, how do you feel about that?
That's exactly I'm like,
it's very contradictory.
He's got Marco Rubio with him now, who's a huge hawk, which I think is part of the deal of getting, that donor money but so I hope he can balance it out. Oh yeah. So the third thing that I didn't like about Trump was that he put all those people in his cabinet, those hawks, Bolton and all those guys. So, but hopefully I'm optimistic that he will do better. But even though he'll probably, I don't think he'll end the war in Ukraine in 24 hours. I think it'll take some time.
Is that what he said he was going to do?
Yeah, he's been saying that, I think it'll take some time because right now Russia has the advantage and they're, it's just, why would they just stop overnight, and how can they trust us anymore? How can they trust us?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there was something that I think Putin was on he was talking on the other night, some kind of news thing. And he was basically saying, look, we've been saying all along that we just don't want American missiles next to our border. And he's like, imagine if we did the same thing. If we put missiles on the Canadian border or the Mexico border, U.S. would get mad. And I was like, I fucking respect that.
I do too. They have to understand Putin is quite a moderate. He's not an extremist at all. He tries to, he wanted to kind of be accepted into the whole European EU scene and so much that he compromised himself and it didn't work. And now the opposition party, which is the Communist Party, you know that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. In Russia, the opposition party is the Communist Party. they're the hawks.
Mm.
They want to go all in, take Kiev, like take it all, and this and that.
Well, and that's what people think Putin is, right?
Well, that's what they think he's doing. And if he wasn't in office, if the U.S. got their way and got Putin out, then someone from the Communist Party would jump in, almost, if not Medvedev, and he would go along with a lot of things that because they're putting the pressure on. They want results. They want this resolved quickly, and it's just funny when I hear it's not funny. It's just pathetic that people don't do their research.
Yeah.
It's not fun. It's not funny at all.
No, I agree with that. Like the stuff that I've seen of Putin and heard of him, and this is like through the filters of propaganda, of American propaganda too.
Yeah.
Like I look at the guy and I'm like, the stuff he's doing is actually for the people of his country. Like he's doing it for the benefit. Like there was one time where I think I mentioned this on the last podcast too, but one of the big things I know about him is there was some factories that shut down in Russia. And in order to get people back to work, because the factory workers were bickering amongst themselves, like the factory owners were bickering amongst themselves about like, who was getting the most money and stuff. And he went and he made a contract out and he put them all in a round table and he said, sign the contract.
I saw that.
Yeah. And there was a couple people that wouldn't sign it. And he's like, he pulled his pin out and he's like,
exactly,
sign the contract. And then he said, give me my pin back. Yeah. It's fucking boss shit, man. Like the guy is trying to get he's trying to get the society functioning correctly.
And you know what? Those guys who didn't hesitant to sign, they were corrupt. I think they eventually got ousted or kicked out or something like that. But they were taking money and they liked it and they didn't enjoy it. But he cleaned up corruption very. It's not perfect. But I would say it's better than what we have now.
Oh, dude, we're so fucking bad.
I know. I keep seeing it like every day. I see something else. I'm like, are you serious? Because I'm brainwashed to think that we are the house on the hill,
the pinnacle. Yes.
Yeah. We're the beacon of democracy. And now I'm just like, what are we, do we only help terrorists? If we're giving aid to someone, is it to fund a genocide in Gaza or, why can't we ever help anyone in a good way? Why don't we ever really defend democracy? What is, this?
Yeah, like what is the overall goal? That's my thing. I see the shit we do and I'm like, what is this? Is this for like gaining more territory? Like I don't get it.
I'll tell you what I think it's for. I think that it's to preserve the US hegemony. That's what it is. They want to we can't help Ukraine win the war. It's done, but the fact that we are so adamant about whatever Biden says, like till the end or whatever, like, we're going to help them as long as it takes. That's what he says, as long as it takes. So that makes other countries hesitant to go against us. China was probably looking at this going, well, what the fuck? Like they're going to sanction us. They're going to, and they're just trying to reunify with Taiwan, but it makes anyone hesitant to like move at all in any conflict because when they do, we get involved. We jump in. We're like, no, war's our business. Let us get in here. So, if Argentina had a dispute with, I don't know, whatever is over there, Chile or something, and they, even a border dispute or something, then we would jump right in and go, no, let us help. And it's just, and I think we do that as a deterrent to get people, like we have a monopoly on war. It's really terrorism, really. I think so. That's like the number one thing, like, China and India, they're in the BRICS alliance and the USA has done everything they can to to separate these two, to divide them. And I think it ultimately comes down to economics. Mm-hmm. What we did to, Germany recently, like cutting off their gas from Russia and then selling them like our liquefied natural gas for like 3 times more. It's just horrible. Like we're the worst friend.
A lot of people don't even know about that.
The worst friend in the world.
Yeah.
And they sit there and take it too. And they're like, yeah, okay, So because they're afraid. They're afraid that, if they don't buy it from us, then we will just give their neighbors like, some missiles. And tanks and that, So
we're the bullies on the block.
We are. I'm trying to think of a time when we actually when in recent time did we do anything good? It wasn't in was it Palestine and Michigan or whatever, where the trains wrecked or whatever?
Oh yeah, I remember who you're talking about.
I think it's pronounced different, like Palestine or something. We didn't. What about Hawaii during the the fires? You
No.
know? What about during in North Carolina after the hurricane? You know, when have we done something that is good?
That's true. And a lot of that's not even televised either.
No, it's not, because they run the television. You know,
Like I see these documentaries that come out. I recently was asked to judge one of the film festivals, and some of the new documentaries that are coming out. There was one that was about the Carolina stuff, and it was the people that made a documentary because they were there when it happened, and they were trying to get out after the aftermath, and they documented the entire thing. Very fascinating stuff. And there's another one that I watched recently that was about the Ukrainian war, and the footage that's coming out from that is amazing, dude. Like the way they document modern warfare with the drones and stuff. And there are people that are actually
who
filming.
was it that did it?
I don't know the filmmakers. Yeah, I guess I should have looked it up. Right?
It's a movie or a series.
It's a documentary. It's called. Come on, brain. I can't think of it. It's at a Beta Springs Film Festival. It's going to be there.
It's a new one.
Yeah, it's a brand new one. Yeah, so they just now put it out.
Check it out.
Yeah, I can see the link, or I can see the name of it and stuff. But it's there are people that are wearing GoPros at war now, and you're seeing these things from like a firsthand view of like these guys that are getting shot.
Yeah, I'm on Telegram at least like 2 hours a day watching this stuff.
Yeah, it's nuts, man. So I mean, it's really showcasing what war is actually like, and
they're
it's
not going to
fun.
show you on TV either what it is, and whatever you're looking at on YouTube is the same thing as you're going to see on TV, because it's so it's what is the word I'm looking for? Censored. It's yeah. I don't even do YouTube anymore. There's like 3 people that I have to go over there that I'm subscribed to watch because they haven't got their ass to Rumble yet. But I'm like so done with YouTube. I wish like we can just ditch them because they're so like anti-free speech, which is horrible. You know,
Is Rumble growing big?
Oh, it's the second biggest video platform.
Nice. I knew when it first come out. Yeah, but I didn't know if like how many people had adopted it yet. I'm not on it yet, obviously.
It has tons of problems that could be simply solved. Like, like a YouTube video, you can double click and it goes from small to big. They don't have that on Rumble. You have to go click. It's kind of a hassle. And I'm just like, why don't they hire some consultant to like fix all these? I think I thought of like 30, 40, 50 things that I could find on Rumble that were like just stupid like that shouldn't exist.
Like quick fixes.
Yeah. Quick fixes.
Quality of life fixes. You should reach out to him, dude. Send him a message.
Yeah, maybe I will.
Like, these are my list of demands.
It doesn't. What that tells me is like that they're kind of in this echo chamber. When I see things like that, I think like they're in some kind of echo chamber bubble where they're just getting, oh yeah, you're doing great, and so they don't think that they need to improve, which is stupid. Like, you should always like. That's why they have mystery shoppers to go in the store and like. Try to find the things that are wrong with it. Like if you're not trying to find things wrong with your business, then somebody's going to come eat you up, soon.
Yeah, I think the same thing about our liquor distributors around town. Like there's a quick fix they can make, and I've suggested it to all the companies, and they've yet to implement it. So if you're listening, Republic and Glaziers and Crescent Crown, all these motherfuckers, all you have to do is on their because they have little PDA things they use, just add a thing in there where whenever they're going to a certain street or a certain business, it shoots out a text message to all the business owners, and it says, "I'm coming to your street for deliveries." Because I'm here for 4 hours on days that I get deliveries, just waiting.
And you could be here for a half hour.
Could be here for half an hour. All they got to do is let me know. And you know who does this? Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola will send you a text message before they come to your business, and it's that simple. It's just a little button they press, and it ships it out to the business owners.
Have you let them know this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've let them all know it, and they don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's at that time. That's when I call like all my other friends who are in the similar. Like, you call all the other bars that you're friends with and have them all like contact them at once.
Yeah, not a bad idea.
Bombard them. I've done that before and had good results getting changed. When you get more people, it's again more stupid businesses. When one person complains about something like that, there's going to be 99 others who just don't complain for whatever reason. But they don't see that. They see, okay, well, there's one guy complained, so it's not really that important. No, there's literally 99 other people who just don't feel like it,
But do you think that it's the other people can't see the solution?
Which people?
Like, do you think there are only certain people that can actually solve these problems?
No, I'm sure like there is another bar, maybe I'm probably sure tons of them maybe one across the street who also has a Coke distributor and a distributor with Crown. And they're like, why can't the Crown guy be like the Coke guy? I'm sure there's hundreds of them.
And they just don't reach out?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do they not reach out though?
That's a good thing. Good question. Maybe they think that they're working on it or it can't be done, or, that they probably the main reason is that they think that they already know this, and for whatever reason, it's just not implemented, for whatever reason.
See, I think the same thing about like society in general. Like people can tell there are problems. Why are they not reaching out to their politicians and complaining about it?
I do. I'm always, I'm always doing something. I'm always taking action, even if like no one else is doing it.
Yeah, our politicians probably don't like me because I talk to them like they're fucking dogs.
You call them?
I don't call them. I get on. I
write them too.
Yeah,
I've tried calling a couple times, and it's like, oh, I'll send you to their voicemail.
No,
they never call me back.
I email them and they email me back, and they're like giving me these political takes on it, and I'm like, you're not on the front grounds. You don't know these. You don't know what you're even talking about. You're passing laws, and you live in a fucking mansion. You have no clue what the people actually want.
Bobby Jindal called me back once. That was cool.
Yeah, did you talk to him?
Yeah, I did.
It's interesting that he called you, not his assistant.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, that's probably who's responding to emails too. Whenever I'm emailing back, it's probably their assistants.
Well, I met him before, and so I kind of name dropped him, like, oh yeah, I'm this guy, and I met him before. I voted for him. That's why
you're very memorable too.
Thanks.
Just saying, the first time I met you, I was like, yeah, I know this guy.
Who was that? I tried to get a hold of, and they would not call me back no matter what. It was the Landrews guy. He did not call me back. Yeah. And I followed up and I said, hey, I've been calling and messaging and they're like, oh, well, someone will get back to you. Not even an assistant got back to me. No one.
Well, the Kennedy guy is the one that always responds back to me.
He's hilarious.
Fucking hilarious. And I even complimented him on how funny he is in there. But he was giving me like this, it was the most recent one was the THC scandal thing where they were like trying to ban the THC from being sold in bars. Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. So I reached out to him about that and was kind of just telling them that this is good for, it's a good product for people that typically only drink alcohol because it's actually healthier for them. Like I've seen several people that are like, we're going down the road of alcoholism and they switched to drinking THC seltzers and now they're like, their whole life's improving.
Now, is that THC, are those drinks free from alcohol?
Yeah, there's no alcohol in them.
Oh.
It's all hemp derived.
Why don't they mix it? Like, that would be too extreme for them, huh?
To mix it with alcohol?
Yeah, why not have like a 3% alcohol, like hemp drink thing?
I don't know. I don't know what that. I mean,
you haven't even thought about that yet.
Well, people do it in here all the time. They'll buy
they'll buy it and mix it, right?
They don't mix it, but they mix it in their stomach. Like they'll take a shot of alcohol and then they'll drink a THC.
I think I've seen Brittany mix one of those drinks.
No, you haven't seen that.
Yeah. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
I did not see that.
No, we're not allowed to do that by law.
I think that my brain is like, no, yeah, it wasn't here.
Yeah,
they were over there.
There are that
guy did it.
So it's also like they're regulating it all down to 5% or 5 milligrams. So even the 10 milligram one that we have right now, come January we have to stop selling that.
Huh.
But so it's all 5 milligrams now. I'm not sure why they have the caffeine. Like you were telling me you tried one time.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you try the one with caffeine in it? Because that gives me anxiety.
I don't know.
Yeah. So the mixture of THC.
I didn't even
know
what I was trying. I didn't even know. Okay. When I ordered that, I didn't know that TH3 drink. How do you say it? TH3?
THC.
THC was even a thing. Like I was going like, cause you don't have what I buy. So I'm like, okay, I'll eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Mm-hmm.
And I ordered it and I drank it. And like 10 minutes later, I'm like, does this have any alcohol in it? And then I started feeling a little loopy. I'm like, oh crap, what's going on?
Yeah, see, the ones with caffeine in it, they make me feel weird too. I can't do them. But the ones without caffeine, I love them.
Anything with weed, I can't do. Like, I can't be around people that smoke weed because I'll get high and paranoid just being next. Just a little smell of it. Yeah. As soon as like, that stuff gets into my system, paranoia. Everyone's the cops, everyone. The dog, like, what are you doing? What are you looking at? What are you going to bite me something? What are you going to do?
The dog has a mic on.
What do you do?
The squirrels or the birds. What is the birds?
They're the cops too.
The birds are the cops. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it was a conspiracy around a while back that was the birds had microphones on them or something. Did you hear this?
No.
Yeah, the birds were mechanical. Like the conspiracies are so weird these days.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Do you ever dive down rabbit holes of those?
No, I did one time, like when in like I think it's like 2012, 13, 14. That's when before YouTube censored everything. There was all this it was like an Alex Jones special or whatever. It was do you know the director from Freedom to Fascism? Like no, Aaron Russo was the director. He's dead.
Okay.
And
I know him, yeah.
so he got together with Alex Jones and made this movie From Freedom to Fascism. And I'd never seen anything like this. And I'm like, holy shit, they're going to put like microchips in our arms and our hands. And I'm like, I actually wrote to the people of the movie. I'm like, what can I do to help? Like, how do we stop this? Because the way they presented it was like, this is a done deal.
Yeah.
And then now I kind of understand that, oh, they're just being like, this is what could happen if you don't like take, if you people are just so stupid and you just let them walk all over you, it could happen. Like the way they presented it was like, this was, a done deal and we're all going to be slaves to this system. And that was like the first one I watched, Freedom to Fascism. And then I watched the Zeitgeist Part 1, 2, 3. Have you seen that?
It sounds familiar.
You got to watch it if you haven't. That's kind of like a conspiracy theory, like, that's the holy grail of like YouTube videos for conspiracy theory stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because and actually some really interesting information that I didn't know, like as an American, like growing up in, a Christian household, I didn't know that, Islam and I didn't know there was 3 Abraham, religions. I didn't know it was Islam and Judaism and Christianity were all kind of the same thing, but just different, told different. I didn't know they overlapped. I didn't know any of that stuff. Because I never really had any interest to know any other religion. But that movie was, very enlightening too. The first and second one I recommended. The third one's kind of lame, but still you got to finish them all off. So watch that one. If they still have them, YouTube might have kicked them.
That's why I think I might have seen them on YouTube because I knew there was like several of them. I think sometimes I'll be editing and I'll just put that shit on in the background and kind of listen to it. Just white noise. There was an interesting podcast I did last weekend. The lady that was on is Fiona McQuinn. She's a film director.
Fiona McQuinn. Fiona McQuinn.
She was also a science teacher. Started off as a science teacher. Now she teaches ethics, philosophy, and religion. And
ethics.
Yeah, so it was really interesting to hear her take on being a science teacher and understanding that side of it, and now looking at religion and seeing how there's overlap there, like almost like they're saying the same thing.
How? And like what kind of one example?
Well, what I'll say is, from my understanding, if you look at like Hinduism, okay, and then you see the chakras, okay, so the Kundalini awakening and the chakras are actually lining up with the endocrine glands. So if you master the chakras, you're actually just mastering the hormones of the body or the endocrine system.
Yeah, you lost me there. I watched a video like a few months ago. I think the title was "The Chakras Are Bullshit." Like, so now I'm like, I don't even understand that.
Well, yeah, it's just basically the endocrine system.
You believe that? Is that your thing?
Yeah,
the chakras. Okay.
Well, we call it chakras, but if in the West we call it the endocrine system.
What's that?
In the West,
endocrine. Oh,
your hormone system in the body.
Okay.
So like when you're angry, that's a certain endocrine glands that are.
So you're Hindu.
So you're basically controlling the body. Well, I wouldn't say I'm anything.
To a degree, like more Hindu than any other thing. I
would just say that I understand. I wouldn't say I'm any religion. I would say that that's more of a science to me.
Really?
Yeah,
but they came up with these chakra things before science even existed, really.
Yeah, but I'm saying it I'm saying words that we understand in the Western society.
What about the thing where you like do something like this or like that, and the certain kind of energy travels through you and fixes certain things? Like,
yeah,
you believe that?
To a certain extent, yes.
Okay. If you believe it, then I have to check it out because I trust your opinion.
Well, I appreciate
I'll give
that.
it another chance, but I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
So,
and most
but
people do think that, but there was a book that someone gave me a while back. It's called The Science of Yoga.
Science of Yoga.
Yeah, fascinating
I'll check
book.
that one out.
I'll send you a link to that as well. But that really changed my perspective.
That really surprised me. That I wasn't expecting you to, I wasn't expecting this.
We haven't talked about this yet?
No.
Oh, I thought we talked about I usually talk about this at the bar whenever I'm working. Yeah,
Okay.
so the meditation, I'm a huge meditator. Love it. Do you meditate?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if you're meditating, you're basically practicing body control.
I like to do a Wim Hof session first and then like some breathing techniques and then meditate for a half hour.
I love it, dude. After my workouts every day, I go up to the roof and I meditate in the sun.
Yeah. There's a place down the street. Like I think it's a 2-lane parking garage. That's why I'll do the breathing up there sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's fun.
Yeah, no, I really believe in that stuff though. The only reason I believe in it is because of my own experiences. And I think that these things that I'm talking about, like if you don't experience them for yourself, you're going to have problems believing in it too.
Well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's like anything. If you don't actually see it, then when someone just tells you something, you're like, okay, whatever. Like that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But then if you actually like practice these things and experience it for yourself, like how not only your life changes, but your entire like body changes.
I just feel like there's much other things that impact like your life and your body, such as just the air quality, the water purity, things like that, and whether or not what kind of food you eat, and that kind of thing.
Well, no, environmental changes definitely.
I think that's like those three things are probably 90% of it, like maybe 10% to the chakras or whatever. So if I had to like put more time into something that I perceive as having a minimal impact, then it's just not worth it. But if you think it's more, if you think it's more influential, then I'm going to check it out anyway. I'm going to check out that book. I'll give it a try. I'll give anything a try twice. The first time failed.
Well, it's first time failed because you just didn't know enough, right?
Well, I was going down that hole. I was trying to learn,
Yeah.
But maybe I just got, I was looking up that, looking for information on it. And what I got was the chakras are bullshit. So
that's the problem. That's the problem with the internet is like one person can get on there and type anything they want to. And the first person will read the headline and go, well, this is dumb. And let's go to something else. That's why if you read something like the book, The Science of Yoga, that's a man who devoted his entire life to this practice. So he actually has the knowledge to I guess properly explain it. What the chakras are bullshit say? What'd they say?
I don't remember. It was a few months ago, and it was just like, this is this is bullshit. That's what they kind of. They had a compelling argument because I stopped looking into it at that point, but I just don't remember what it was.
There's a lot of compelling arguments out there. Like I feel like you can, if you look on the internet these days,
you can find whatever you're looking for.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean,
but I was looking for both things though. I was looking, I wasn't like looking for the chakras or bullshit. I was looking for, what it is,
Well, maybe they are bullshit.
Could be.
Life's about perspective.
Well, next time we get back together, maybe I'll have read that book and I'll let you know how I think on that. And if I still don't understand it, you can assign me another book.
Well, no, I'll just tell you my thoughts on it. Like it's better if you definitely read the book before we have this conversation. But yeah, all I can do is give you my thoughts on it. And then you have to go formulate your own opinion. It's like everything in life. And that's my main goal in life, is to really understand how people think. And I don't get how people think in this modern world.
I do.
You understand it?
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with a guy the other night. We were talking about the whole vaccine fiasco. And we were talking about the vaccines, and then it immediately turned into a race thing. And like he was like throwing out these numbers and stuff, and I didn't have any numbers to back it up. So I was like, whatever. Then I went later and I was talking to my AI about it. And I was kind of telling the AI what this guy was saying. And the AI was like, no, that's wrong. But it's like some people, they're dumb, but they say things so confidently that you're like, yeah, whatever. Maybe these guys, and I think that's what people are doing, and people are then going along with it. Because this guy was throwing out bad numbers, essentially, is what my AI was saying. But he turned it into a race battle, essentially, right off the bat. I'm like, this has nothing to do with race. How do you feel about that?
Which part of that? There's a lot to unpack there.
Well, I mean, the vaccine part, I don't give a shit about anymore. The fact that people just like break anything down to a race battle, and it's like we're the human race.
Well, okay. So first of all, whenever the majority of people do not want their beliefs challenged. There's a sales theory that I have a strong sales background. It's called build, break, build. It's a tool that you use to get influential with people. I'll tell you that in a second. But most people don't like to have their beliefs challenged. And when you do, they instantly get defensive.
Mm-hmm.
And then they start trying to divert and like pick things apart, basically trying to get out of it and get you to shut up, or agree with them.
That's what they were doing.
Or agree with them. But if you use certain psychological, like if you understand how the brain works and how people, the sales technique that I'm talking about, build, break, build, is where you give somebody a compliment and then you say, okay, like, oh, you're doing really good, on the job, but you did leave you didn't take out the trash the other night, but all in all, you're doing very great. So you build and you mask the criticism inside the build, break, build. It's the second thing. The first thing is a compliment. The second thing is a criticism. The third thing is a compliment. So when you hear people like coming at you with these things, if you go, that's bullshit, I don't want to hear that, they're going to instantly get, okay, now I have to, challenge this. Once you get into that dynamic where you're not having a conversation, that you're having a challenge, you're in a debate now, even a mini debate, even if it's just, 5 minutes with somebody, you're in a mini debate. And when you get to that level, it's not an exchange of ideas anymore. It's winning. That's all it is.
Right.
You feel like your belief system is threatened and you have to defend it. So when you're talking to somebody like that, you go, you know what? That's very interesting. I'll have to look into that. Although that's not exactly the numbers that I heard. I heard it was much lower. But you seem like a smart guy, so I'll check it out. And that way,
that's what you just did to me about the chakras, man.
I did.
You son of a bitch.
And that way, the conversation will still continue to be an exchange of ideas and not a fight, the defense.
Well, you think I was going to fight you on that anyway?
No, I just do it now. It's embedded into me.
Maybe that's a defense mechanism.
No, it's a program.
Because you shut down the conversation by saying, I'll check it out.
Right.
When you could have actually had a conversation about it.
I didn't want to go. It doesn't interest me that much.
What interests you? We'll talk about what interests you.
There's lots of things interest me. The psychology of people, like you're saying, that interests me. How you don't understand like people. What I'm talking about now is what interests me. Like how I think we have similar interests in this realm. I think the difference is like I studied heavily into this when I first got out of high school and went to college. I studied on psychology. This was back before it was a bullshit, degree. Easy to, it was not it was not very popular at the time.
Yeah.
And so one of our assignments was to go out, and survey people and get their opinions on things. And I remember when I first did that, I learned a lot out on the field, as we call it. You're out there talking to people and doing experiments, social experiments. This is before YouTube existed. But we were doing that just to learn from people.
Mm-hmm.
We went out to a bus stop once and we're like, O.J. Simpson, guilty or not guilty? And they're like, I'm like, should there be a third option? They're like, how about not give a shit? And they're like, yeah, not give a shit. And so you give that influence to people. I think it's interesting, like how some people will, when you give them two options, it kind of limits them to choose between this and that. But there's always third and fourth option. And that's when you get to know what people think about. Like in the beginning of this conversation, I told you I didn't care about, trans issue. You're asking for yes or no. I'm like, I don't care. I'm not a trans person. Doesn't affect me. I don't care.
Well, no, I was asking for your opinion, not a yes or no.
Yeah.
And that's very different than a yes or no.
Well, that's my opinion is don't care.
I think that's just a soft answer, Vam.
Don't care. The same thing on abortion. I'm not a woman, not going to have abortion. I don't care. I'm not, I'll tell you what my opinion on abortion is. I think the women of America should get together and decide what to do about it.
Even if it's your kid?
No. Okay. What I'm saying is, let me rephrase that. I don't think men should be in that conversation.
Even if it's your kid?
I don't think men should be in that conversation.
Interesting.
If it's your,
I disagree.
I'm talking in the people who make up the politicians, the people who, you know, vote on this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it should be your own choice, but neither. I think both parties should get together and make this decision. Talking about the man and the woman, I don't think that it should just be one person's choice.
Definitely, yeah. I'm talking about from a legal perspective, the people who write the laws. I think not talking about on the fan. I'm so totally weird with you on that. You know,
it's so weird that the federal government or even the state government wants to have a say in this. Like, shut the fuck up and let people live their lives.
The way I see it is that from where I stand, I see a bunch of men like making laws for all the women, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
but I mean, there are female politicians.
Like
as well.
Well, yeah, pull them out and like have them, you know, decide it or whatever. That's how I think on that.
Okay,
I've thought like that for at least 10 years now.
I mean, you can always change your mind.
Yeah, but I just don't think like it in the same turn. Like, I think we kind of agree the same way, but why not let them do that? Why do some dudes, like, why does the governor of Arkansas have a say in this? He's not going to have kids. He's already had all his kids. Like, why does he get a say in what you do with your kids?
Isn't there a female governor now?
I don't know. I thought it was like Greg Abbott or something like that.
Who's the woman? There's like a female. There's the lady that used to be like the Speaker of the House or whatever, or not Speaker of the House, but the the secretary, press secretary.
I don't know. I don't
really know either, but I think and this goes back to the drug thing. Like, they should let you put whatever you want in your body. They should also let you do whatever the fuck you want to with your body. If you want to kill your kid and your husband's okay with that, then fucking do it.
That's crazy.
Why?
I mean, what if it's almost born? Like,
it's not mine. Why should I have a say?
Yeah, exactly. If it's not yours, then you've kind of proved like my point. Like, why? Why should you have the ability to kill a child that's just because it's unborn, like one day before? I mean, okay, let's say it was born, and then you decide, oh, this baby's deformed, I don't like it. Here, kill it.
But so
you
now
believe
you're
in that?
But now you're debating this.
No,
You just said that women should have the choice to do whatever they want to, right?
Not whatever they want to. There's a limit to this.
So if the females in the government do get together and say, yeah, we want to kill them up to the day they're born, you'll be like, okay, it's cool.
I'll get back to that in 1 second.
Okay.
But here's the point I'm trying to make is, what is the difference between killing a baby that's one day before birth and one day after birth?
I didn't say there was.
I'm asking what the difference is.
I don't think there is a difference.
I don't think so either. It's just, I mean, it's inside you, and you know, and it hasn't come out yet. It's so a fully developed baby, like killing that's.
I mean, I guess
crazy.
the difference would be that they've taken their first breath outside the body.
Yeah. Not in terms of like the growth and all that. It's not
yeah.
much.
So there's some studies out there that say that consciousness is in the air around us.
Yeah.
So the first breath that you take outside of the body is basically like your first breath of consciousness. So then that could be the argument for this.
I don't know where that doesn't sound legit to me.
Yahweh. Now they say that the breath, the out breath and the in breath is the only breaths that do
That's
not.
when the mind actually starts thinking. There's no brain activity going on before that.
Well, no. So like
But yes, to answer your question, I would be cool with that.
If you don't use your tongue or your lips to manipulate the air around you, when you breathe out and in, it sounds like Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yes.
Which is what, a chakra thing or something?
It's not a chakra thing. It's Eastern beliefs. But yeah, it's one of the beliefs. So, I mean, to say that, then you would say that, yes, whenever you take your first breath in, that's your first breath of consciousness. And therefore you're killing a conscious being.
I don't know. They probably have. I've never heard that before.
Well, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I mean, I'm sure they have
dropping dimes.
You know, they can test that stuff with their magic wand or whatever. The brain activity, right? They can.
I'm sure there's brain activity even when they're in the womb.
I don't know. But to answer your question, yeah, I would be cool with that. If all the women,
but I think that's
politicians
silly.
like got together, and I would say, yeah, sure.
I think that's silly.
Because it doesn't affect me.
But I think you need to have,
It doesn't affect me.
okay, this is one of my beliefs is that you have to have the masculine and the feminine to make decisions. Okay. And it's the same way with the brain. You need the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere to make accurate decisions. The same way with Western beliefs and Eastern beliefs. The way that we're actually going to change the world is by bringing both of those together and having a complete belief system rather than having Eastern and Western.
What about Northern and Southern?
That's the same duality, but I mean, are there really that much of a difference in the North and the South? Like, I feel like you hear more about Western philosophy and Eastern philosophy.
What if both philosophies are wrong? And I think they are.
Both philosophies are wrong. You need the amalgamation of both philosophies. I think all of
this is wrong.
You think that this bar is wrong?
Not this bar. This is the one right thing, like in this world. Yeah.
No, I think that you have to like meld these things together to have the right. So I believe that yes, I believe both of them are wrong as well. And until you bring them both together, that's when you're going to have right.
I don't think so. I think you're going to get more wrong. Like, oh, we're going to merge. This thing has good and bad. This thing has good and bad. And we're going to merge it together and get nothing but good. No, you're going to get the wrong stuff with it.
Well, no, you're going to get the good and bad. There's always going to be good and bad. That's once again the duality. You have to become both good and bad, but then control the bad.
But I mean, if you did not bring the bad from each one of those, in theory, that, maybe that's, are they that much different? Like, what's the difference?
Well, the difference is just in the words that we use to describe things. Like when I was saying endocrine system, and then I was also saying chakras. Those are basically saying the same thing. We're just using different words. And chakras have been so ingrained in us to be like, it's not real science. It's pseudoscience. And it's like people don't believe it. When they hear it, they automatically have a negative reaction to it.
Well, I'll look at, like I said, I'll look into it, but you really want to steer this conversation back to the chakras. No,
I'm using it as an example. Like, we can stick with human psychology. I'm just using that as an example to, because a lot of people, they hear like astrology and stuff and they go, oh, it's just pseudoscience. But no, there's actually, there's proof behind these things that these are actually hard sciences as well. It's just that our society doesn't want you to look into these things. They want you to have a negative reaction to them.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about the loony left-wing nut jobs and like how they're canceling things and like how free speech is important. I think that's a huge issue right now.
What do you think about that?
I think that we would be I think they got really close to censoring, I think they hacked the election in 2000.
Yeah, there was 15 million votes that were unaccounted for this time, right? Yeah. And that was that a thing?
Yeah. Well, he won so much in a landslide that they couldn't, you had to steal a lot more. But they do so much to keep information away from people's, away from your eyes, that it's just appalling. And these changes that they're making, I see them coming incrementally. I see them like they're coming over the years. They've been doing this. Like Google now limits your results to 10 now. They don't give you 100 anymore or whatever.
But you still Google things?
Yeah.
I'd just be asking AI things now, man.
That's cool.
I feel like you like cut through the bullshit of Google.
Huh.
Just like the other night when I was trying to find the stats that guy I was talking to, I asked AI and AI gave me the stats right off the bat.
Huh.
And they were exact. Like one of the stats he actually got right. The rest of them he didn't.
And what is that? Is that just
Well, he was asking me
the AI thing you're using.
Well, I used several of them. One of them is I use is ChatGPT. I use that to like rewrite things and like to find some certain facts. So I asked ChatGPT the other night that, but I have a couple other ones that I made for like specific things.
Yeah, I still Google things. Part of me wants to know what other people are thinking too. I know if I Google something, that whatever's in the top 10 is what the majority of people think.
Yeah, like chakras are stupid.
Yeah. So it's helpful to know like what you're up against. You're like, oh, so that's what people think,
Yeah. Yeah, I only use it to like find like certain facts. I feel like it cuts through all the bullshit when you're like looking for a certain number. But yeah, definitely check yourself.
I've never used ChatGPT.
Is there a reason?
Just didn't have any interest.
Do you use any AIs?
Siri.
I guess that is an AI, isn't it? What do you think about Elon Musk if you're like not for censoring?
I think that if Elon Musk did not purchase Twitter, then we would have a Joe Biden or Kamala right now.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I think it's that much of an influence, Because not only are they censoring the things that they don't want us to see, but they're also squashing the movement, the opposition to that. You know what I mean?
No.
There's things that they don't want you to see, so they censor them. They, whatever they do, blackball them, whatever it is they call it, filter it out, filter your results on Google and on all these different platforms, YouTube, So not only are they censoring that, but they're censoring the people who are trying to rally against it.
Right. Like RFK, they'll censor him for like giving his opinions on things.
Yeah, the vaccine bullshit. They're like, okay, here's the, vaccine and, take it. It's safe and effective. And then here comes somebody else and say, actually, I have some information here that done. Get out. Bye.
Yeah.
Don't want to hear it. So they're not only just censoring information that's important, but they're creating an atmosphere where they're convincing people that this information is violence and that it's like it's violent, it's racist, it's homophobic, it's sexist, misogynist, it's claustrophobic, arachnophobic. It's like this, if you think this certain way, and it's gotten to the point where it's so Orwellian that it has to be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they were very, very close to having like almost a complete takeover.
Yeah.
Very close. And I think Elon Musk buying Twitter was, that things would be a lot different if he didn't, because they're censoring so many people. They're just.
When you also mentioned the echo chamber thing too. So the algorithms are basically putting you in echo chambers too. So you're not actually getting other opinions on those sites.
Yeah.
You're just getting what you want to hear.
You're just being told what you want to hear.
Yeah,
and
so
if you think
if
you try to, they've almost made thinking critically a crime.
Right.
And if you think critically, then you're racist, homophobic, sexist, whatever.
That's what the guy was doing to me the other night.
Yeah. And so how did he get that way? He got that way because of a lot because of the Biden administration and their censorship. They're trying to ban ideas. They don't want you to see what's on TikTok, so they want to ban that because they don't want you to see their crimes, and the genocide in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main reason for that. But they're telling you no, it's to protect you, from fake news and misinformation, and you need to be protected, because there's Russian influence and there's fake news and information that could hurt you and get you killed, if you don't take the vaccine and this and that.
Right.
So it's just so much that it's like, God, it's just horrible. It's
like,
horrible.
how do you get through to these people that are already like brainwashed into thinking this way? And they would say the same thing about you and I. They would say that we're brainwashed as well.
You really don't. You really don't. Okay. In a company, there's usually one like manager for every 10 employees or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 managers for every 100. And this reflects on society in general. Like, I think there's one leader to lead every 9 people. 90% of the population is just blind sheep zombie, and the Democrats have figured this out and they capitalize on it. And they know if they show you, if they put it in writing and it's in the New York Times, is reputable, then 90% of the people will believe it. If you put it on TV and it's on Morning Joe or whatever, the fact that these guys are saying it, they must have fact checked it, and therefore this is the truth.
Right.
And that's all they really need to do is just advertise on the TV, the internet, and the print, and there you go. You've got a whole brainwashed population, and people don't know it to even want to get out of it. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense. Actually, I heard an experiment. I think I was watching a couple nights ago, but it was a line experiment. It's a very, very simple psychology experiment where they basically brought in some actors and they said, look, these lines, they put 3 lines on the board, and like these 2 lines are clearly the same size, but you're going to say that these 2 lines are the same size. And then they would do this, and 2 people would agree on it, and the third person wasn't an actor, and they would be like, yeah, they're the same size. They would just go along with it.
Yeah.
So I think that people just don't want to. What is the term I'm using here? Where we're such a oh my God, we're such like a species that grew up around each other. What am I looking for?
It's
here?
like a cult.
No, I wouldn't say a cult.
Oh, I would.
Like I would say, I mean, a cult's one way to describe it, but I'm saying like the behavioral aspects of it. Like we're so used to being a group species, a social species.
Tribal.
Yeah, tribal. Yeah, you'll go along with the tribe that you're with.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't want to challenge anybody here. So I'm going to agree with them because maybe I'm not seeing the lines correctly.
And see, that's the thing. You tribal, cultish, whatever. I call it cultish because it's coming from the top down. If it was tribal, it's just kind of like everybody's repeating the same thing to each other. But this one's a systematic. It's like, there's a leader up there. There's like a George Soros, and there's all these other people. Trying to engineer us to want to be protected from information, trying to engineer us to think that like, okay, you can't have a different idea or you're a hate person or whatever, and shut your mouth, don't even talk about, trans man in sports. Don't even take this and shut up, and the thing is, it's worked for so long because like I said, you deliver it through the media, the print, internet, and the TV, and the people, they don't challenge it because they don't have a reason to challenge it. They have a feeling that this is the way to think. And then, the guy next to him who's also watching the same program thinks the same way, but they're only starting to challenge it now because the economy is bad. Things are so bad that they're like, hey, why should we believe you? You're telling us that the food prices are normal and, and it's only gone up slightly, but I'm seeing it gone up double and triple. Like, what else did you lie about? And this is starting to come out, and a lot of it is thanks to Twitter, not censoring, because they almost had a monopoly on it. Facebook was into it, Google was into it, all these other guys, they're all into it. But the reason that they don't challenge it is because when they're comfortable, they're not going to challenge it. They're going to be like, yeah, it's racist,
Yeah. Yeah. Life is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But when life starts getting hard, people start getting angry.
Exactly. And they start questioning things. And that's where we're at now. People are like, they want results. They want life to be better.
What do you think it is going to get better?
I think we are on the path now. I don't know how long we can stay on this path or if we'll get diverted from this path. I think it depends on if society learns from their mistakes, really. And if we just focus on fixing the economy right now, then we're basically, that'd be great if we could, but that's basically just putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound because there is an underlying issue. And a lot of it has to deal with censorship, So hopefully, there will be some rollback on this kind of these policies. And, Google, the Pentagon has a backdoor into Google and Facebook and all this stuff,
Well, how would the new administration that's coming in actually fix these things?
Roll back some of those policies, that someone would have to get creative. And I think maybe Tulsi would be the person to do that. As director of intelligence, someone needs to get creative. And I think there should be laws against the government, federal government on what they're doing is not just censoring speech. Like we have First Amendment, we can speak, but what they're doing is they've set up a system where if you say the wrong thing, you would lose your job, you get canceled, and people shame you, and that's just the wrong way to go. So I think there needs to be laws to keep the government out of having backdoors into social media. That's probably a good first step. I don't think they should have anything to do with that.
Do you think you're getting monitored?
Me personally?
You have some pretty wild views.
No, but if I, blew up to, have 10 million followers and people were, if there was a small movement behind me, then yeah, they would. But, just one person, they're not going to, no, I don't think they are. I don't think they.
You hear that, government? He challenged you.
The government doesn't even hear you because who are we?
It's true.
Well, maybe you're so big that now you just put me on their radar.
You're on blast now, bro.
Yeah, you just blasted me to the government.
I don't think this podcast is that big yet, but
but it will be.
Maybe one day. But no, it's a very interesting world that we live in for sure, man. But they tell you you're free, but then they censor you. Yeah. And then you live in a free country, but your medical costs are through the roof, and
yep.
Just doesn't add up.
Yep. Okay, on those issues there, as far as I think, okay, too many times. I remember the first time I heard about it, like maybe in 2016, like somebody like writing a Twitter post or whatever, or Facebook, whatever, and then getting fired for it. And they're like, this company issues this long-winded statement. The person, who made these comments does not, reflect the our values of this company. I'm like, why do you do that?
Right.
Just what you do in work, you go there to work. Outside of work, you should have no say in that whatsoever. That person should be able to sue them, even if you said the most ridiculous, if you're putting out fake news, racist stuff, if you're, just unhinged, complete lunatic, like you go to work, you do your job. That's it. You should not be the idea that employers and education, like teachers and these kind of things are following like you outside of work and outside of school is just, it's abhorrent to me. It's horrible. It shouldn't even be a thing. And then we have the government in on it too. And that's also horrible. And as far as what we were saying about the medical bills, there should be some serious restrictions on that. Needs reform. Hopefully they'll let our RFK will get his little spot and he can help out with that. But that's insane. No one should have to go into bankruptcy to get healthcare. And I'm all for capitalism, but there should be limits on certain things. It's interesting when you find out that like in some cities, a ride to the hospital in an ambulance is like $100, and in other cities it's like $3,000, mm-hmm. And more. It's like, why is that? Like this city has just shown you that it can be done for $100. How are you charging $3,300? That's just stupid. It should be those kind of things should be limited. We can't have runaway crony capitalism. If you want to build a car and you got a nice car or whatever, or anything if you want to charge $1 million for it, that's your choice. You have the freedom to do that. When it comes to like things like life-changing things, like I don't think that there should be. They should not have that freedom in the medical world. This should not be monetized at the degree it is monetized, and it should be broken up. You know what I mean? Yeah,
I agree. One of the things that some of these guys would the argument that they would give is the reason a ambulance ride costs $3,000 is because you can pay for it, and the amount of people that they take on free ambulance rides, that's what you're actually paying for.
Fuck that.
I agree with that. Yeah,
that's
but
not a reason.
Yeah, but that's their business model. That's kind of what they do.
They should not be in the business of getting rich. Healthcare should be in the business of saving people's lives.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I think one of the biggest issues one of the biggest things that's actually helping the world right now is like you were saying, not the censorship, the amount of information that is coming in. Because I remember when I was young, I would ask my mother, like, we were standing at the DMV, and I was like, why are we waiting in line so long? Like, why does this take forever to do this? She's like, that's just the way it is. And I'm like, but it doesn't have to be this way. Like, It can be different.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's the way it is.
Do it with AI.
Yeah.
Hey, ChatGPT, renew license, renewing license.
Yeah, these things don't have to take ages,
Yeah.
Especially with the technology we have these days.
Like I don't understand. That pisses me off too, because I think it's the number one cause of bankruptcy in America.
Medical bills. Yeah.
I think so, and that should not be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And like I was saying, about Twitter and the world being different, and probably Kamala or Biden like being elected right now. Like you asked me, do I think we're going in the direction now in a more positive direction? Like right now we are. Right now, they're also trying to they're trying to correct that. The Democrats are not going to learn their mistake and become, they're not going to reflect on the loss and see that, hey, our politicians are garbage. We need to change our policies. They're like, okay, we just didn't like steal hard enough. We did. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. So I guarantee you that they're going to fight as hard as they can, and they're going to get all the different governments of the world to try to shut down Twitter.
Yeah.
They're going to go after it hard. They're going to learn their lesson and reform. They're just going to go after Twitter and shut it down. Because once they get that, then they pretty much we're back to, 2020, safe and effective vaccine, put your mask on, shelter in place. That's exactly what happened.
But you don't think that the movement's already began?
I think it's began, but other things need to sprout up. There needs to be a Facebook alternative. There needs to be, more things. It's just one platform. Twitter's just one platform. You shut that down, you pretty much, that's a wrap.
Can they shut it down though?
Well, I mean,
is that possible?
They've either shut it down or infiltrated, like they've infiltrated Facebook and Google and Instagram and all these other places that you can't say this and you can't say that. Yes, it's the only reason they can't do it to Twitter is because it's the richest man in the world.
Right.
Like, you can't buy him off.
Yeah.
You can't, unless you have like some really bad dirt on him, you're not getting it,
Yeah, it almost seems like the entire world's fake right now.
It's so fake.
Like even the
not the entire world, but mostly our Western world.
Yeah,
I see that the other, other people, other places got it going good.
Right.
They don't buy into this bullshit.
Yeah, I was gonna reference the Mike Tyson fight recently. Like I know so many people that lost money on that.
Was that Jake Paul or whatever?
Yeah, him and Jake Paul fought.
Who won?
Oh, Jake Paul won. Dude, it was horrible.
Dude.
And the reason he won is because he's
old, yeah.
No, it wasn't because he's old. Like, dude, there were several.
He's just that good,
bro. Now, listen, hear me out. Okay, there were several times where Mike Tyson was loaded up and could have just knocked the shit out of him, but he reached out and grabbed him, and everyone was like, "Why? Why did he not swing?" He wasn't swinging because the contract said the only way you get paid the $20 million is if you go like the distance.
Oh, you got to go 10 rounds or whatever, right?
Yeah,
9, 8,
or 6 rounds. I don't know
whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and they said that if you knock him out, you don't get paid. That was in the contract. So like they should not have let anyone bet on that fight.
Do you think it would have been just lights out without that?
Clearly, like you could see in the fight that Mike Tyson still got it, but he was holding back. He wasn't even swinging.
But Jake Paul is a beast, though.
Bro, Jake Paul cannot hold anything to Mike Tyson.
Isn't he undefeated? I'm not saying against Mike Tyson.
He's undefeated because he's making contracts like this.
I mean, he wasn't in the beginning.
Imagine if you and
when he started in the beginning, he was a joke, and everybody tuned in to watch him get knocked out.
And he didn't get knocked out because he's making people.
Not in the beginning, they didn't do that.
Bro, I would say, okay. I don't know about the contracts in the beginning, but this one right here, I believe they made it public now.
Yeah.
And my whole statement with this is I don't think they should have taken anyone's money that bet on Mike Tyson if they knew that he had to go, he couldn't knock Jake Paul out if he wanted to get paid.
Well, it's public because there's betting going and stuff like that riding on the line, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, but they should have like made that, like, I think it's another thing they
should have made it more public.
Yeah, well, I think it's another thing they censored. Because like, imagine if they would have made that public and said Mike Tyson doesn't get paid $20 million if he actually knocks Jake Paul out. You think anyone's actually going to bet on that?
That's different than that's corporate.
Like I have friends that lost a bunch of money on these fights because they were betting on Mike Tyson to win this fight.
I don't call that censorship unless it comes from the government. I call that like corporate, like crony, capitalism.
But I think that's still a problem with our society.
Like, definitely.
People everyone's just so crooked. Yeah.
On a daily basis, because that's the society we've set up. When I was young, I believe pick yourself up by your bootstraps. You work harder, you work smarter, you get paid more, and that's been the thing for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But now in this age where we're just building millionaires who can create a meme coin, and take everyone's money, this is like people see this and they're like, oh, okay, so I basically just steal from a million people and then I get rich.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of in our culture now,
Yeah.
Oh, okay, steal from. It's just stealing. It's not good. I agree. It's horrible. It's not as bad as government censorship. That's if the government censors, then we're all fucked. There's no way to fix it. You can do that.
But I mean, you're right though. That's the way the government's set up kind of leads to people doing these things. If people see the government doing it, they're like, well, shit, I'm going to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. If they're going to steal from me, then I'm going to take from someone else.
Exactly.
And then we have a society that just goes downhill.
That's exactly where.
How do you feel about the crypto and stuff? Do you have an opinion on that?
I mean, it's
up to 100K right now, right?
Which one? Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, yeah.
I mean, I've won in Bitcoin.
Uh-huh.
I've never really lost in it.
Right.
So, I mean, I like it. And I like the idea of not, of having alternate to the dollar, especially since the dollar is going to shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to get worse. So, I don't know how much Trump can fix this, but if I follow economists like Peter Schiff, do you follow him?
I don't know him. But
he's one of the
he's like a huge Bitcoin guy, right?
He's a doom and gloom economist who says he's a gold guy. He's gold.
Okay.
He's all into gold. You know, that's his thing. But no, he's not so much crypto, but he has a lot of opinions on it.
Yeah, I've watched a lot of economists talk about these things, and they're like, yeah, we're basically Rome burning down right now.
The what?
We're the U.S. is basically Rome burning down right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the money's going to collapse, and then you're going to be like, who's the next one to win out? Is it going to be crypto, or is it going to be the BRICS nation money? Like, what's it going to be?
Yeah, and sadly though, you know, now we have Trump with a much better cabinet, but we're only going to get him for 4 years. So, you know, the next person who comes into office, hopefully Vance, you know, will be able to continue the policies if they are good, you know, and hopefully it won't just be, you know, some Democrat comes along, you know, wins and undoes everything and then shuts down Twitter. And then now we're back in this Orwellian, like, this is horrible. I don't know why any Democrat would want that.
Control.
But no, why would they want that to themselves? But they're controlling themselves, you know?
Yes,
themselves.
but they're controlling the masses, the population.
Yeah.
And if you control the U.S. masses, then you also control the world.
I'm talking about Democrat voters. Why would they want that on themselves?
Oh, I don't know, man. That's one of the things I've been trying to understand. Yeah. But so where I stand right now is I don't understand the Democrat way of thinking, but I also don't understand the Republican way of thinking either.
Well, I'll tell you real quick on the Democrat way of thinking is that they're brainwashed to think that, you know, the Republicans are just, you know, backwoods, you know, racist. They're all, you know, gonna come like shoot unarmed black people. Like, you know, that's what we're gonna do just for fun, you know, whatever. That's their way of thinking. But the way that they think in terms of being like censored, that's the part I don't get. Like, why do they want everything to be, you know, here's how they think. They think that stuff needs to be censored, right? They think, you know, they think the conservatives, that's how they sell them on it. They sell the Democrats on like the conservatives are they're unhinged and they need to be, you know, they need to be shut down. We need to silence them. And they're like, oh, okay. So then they're into that, you know, and they don't realize that it's going to come right back to them. Right. And it does every time. And I'm wondering when they're going to see that. Like, when are you going to see that censoring them is going to censor you?
But I think their argument would be that I have nothing to be censored.
Their argument is shit.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the arguments about what is it? If you're not doing anything wrong, that you don't care if the government's
the point of my question. Yeah. Why would you want that in yourself?
Like, I agree with you.
Why would you want to have your, like...
I want to be able to say what I want to say, and I don't want anyone looking into my shit.
Yeah, why don't they want that too? I want to say whatever I want to say. No restrictions on speech at all.
I don't know, man. I need to have one on the podcast. I mean, I have a bunch of liberals on the podcast, but they never talk about these things. So I think one day I need to have you on the podcast with one of these like hardcore liberals and let you guys talk about it.
I think so too. I think I could do good with that and like maybe find some common ground or at least figure out what is going on up here, you know, because I can not offend them so much, you know.
That's my problem is I'm too direct.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to deal with your bullshit.
Yeah.
So I just say it. I say what I think, and then you get mad at me, and then we're not going anywhere.
Well, the next time I come on here, let's make it a debate.
Okay, I'll try to find someone. I'll try to find someone.
Just walk out in the street and be like, "Hey, you."
Well, no, it has to be the right person. It has to be someone who's intelligent.
No, I'm joking, but yeah, I'm joking, saying that there's liberals like crazy out there. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, yeah, there are in New Orleans for sure, especially in this bar.
That's fleeing lunatic.
Well, it's a very open bar. Like you can pretty much be whatever you want to in here. No one's gonna get mad at you.
Yeah, nobody's giving me shit about my MAGA hat or my Z tattoo.
Yeah,
nobody's giving me shit about that. I've come in like wearing. Have you seen my like Putin shirts and all that stuff?
Oh yeah, I've seen it all.
Nobody's ever said anything about that.
Yeah, because no one cares.
It's pretty cool.
It's the same way with the comedians.
Because what is it? I think these people in this bar, they kind of get it. You know, like I think they get it. And I've talked to some of them too. And I've talked to like a group of black people who are like, I'm voting for Trump, man. Kamala, she a genocide, you know, like I'm like, oh, they get it, you know? And I think people here get it too. What difference does it matter if I support Russia? How does that affect your life?
Not at all.
Tell me how. Doesn't at all.
No.
And I think people here understand that and they're more relaxed. We need to just duplicate another bar and, you know,
in the world,
franchise it and like, bring it to the world, bring it to the.
When the beauty of this bar too is if you come in here and you start, you know, not being okay with these things, people are like, okay, you need to go.
They'll kick you. Yeah, they'll kick you out.
It's like, this is not a place for that kind of behavior. Like, this is a place for everyone to come and chill out and talk, and it's your living room essentially.
Do you think if someone came in here with hardcore like I hate like Republicans, they're rednecks and they're stupid and there's that whole like white privilege and like whitey is the devil, do you think that person would get kicked out of here, or they would just be like,
it's not that they get kicked out, it's that they don't want to come back. So even those people,
do you think they would be like shunned for that, like ignored or
it's not, once again, it's not
somebody shut them up and say you're stupid, or
it's normally me. Because we have Towner that's here. Towner is.
But there goes our franchise like dreams. There, we can't duplicate you like all around.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like it's typically me though, because they look at me and they're like, this guy is the conservative guy here, and when they start talking to me, I'm so good at conversation that I'm not gonna like just let them get over on me. Like I'm gonna actually challenge them on their opinions, and a lot of times they get upset and they end up leaving the bar and they're pissed off. And it's like, well, then you didn't work out here. If you can't handle a tough conversation, you're not going to handle. Exactly. You're not going to handle like anything that anyone else talks about either. That's
another big problem that I we're cradling people in so many ways that it's sad, and when it happens from young age and birth, it becomes normalized, and they don't know any other way. And then if the media tells them that it's hateful to think critically, then you have a big problem.
Yeah.
Huge problem. And that's what we see a lot. I'm very, very surprised that of the movement, the Free Palestine movement on campuses, I'm very surprised that they haven't been shut down. So that's actually, I'm happy about that too. It's like the main entity in America that is, trying to hold Israel to account, No one's doing it better than the universities. I'm very surprised.
It's very interesting for sure. Yeah, especially with the ideology that they're promoting on these campuses these days. It's interesting, the students. So I was having a conversation with a couple of Tulane professors the other night here at the bar. They come in here all the time.
Yeah.
One of them is a Jewish man, and the other one is a Pakistani woman. And so they're at odds, religious-wise, right?
Okay. What I don't know what religion Pakistani people are.
It's Muslim, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I don't know what it is either. I don't want to go. But
okay.
Anyway, whatever. The guy one night he was making a joke about it. And he's like, yeah, so and so is this, and one day I'm gonna have to kill her because I'm Jewish. And I was like, oh, that's funny. It was a joke because their religions are supposed to be at odds. Anyway, they were both here. They always come in and have these like discussions, and they're very interesting to hear because they're coming from two different places, two different backgrounds, and they had a common consensus the other night that college kids these days are stupid, that they don't know how to think critically anymore. And they basically all come from, or especially this college down the road, they all come from wealthy families essentially. And they all know they're going to go work at daddy's business whenever they graduate college. So they don't care about actually learning about the world and solving problems and thinking critically.
They're not far from the truth.
Yeah. It was just interesting to hear their conversation.
But I've seen a reversal on that now.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it would make sense. Yeah, with the protests.
It's been like that since, I think, I don't know, at least 2010 to 2020. Like, I think they're smart. These students, man. These people go to school. And Tulane, what is Tulane? It's a medical mostly, right?
What?
It's medical mostly, right?
I don't know.
Or it's law and medical, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, they have like, that's LSU. LSU is the medical one.
Yeah, I think they have it all there. Because I know people that there's like film school and everything.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course, every college does. But I think they specialize in law.
Okay.
That's pretty much that. But they're not smart. I mean, they're not stupid. Like, there's a difference between being dumb and brainwashed and being intellectually smart and educated. And they're educated. And what they tell, I think COVID broke them. Like being lied to, like, blatantly lied to on so many, and it's so obvious that, the things they've had to backtrack. And I think that broke them. They're like, no, this is wrong. And this is stupid. And, what else are you lying about? Now they're looking for other things. Like, what else are you lying about? Oh, you're lying about Palestine. Okay. Figures. What else? I think that's where they're at right now. Mm-hmm. So I think they're, yes, they were dumb and would believe anything for the longest time, but I think that COVID broke them, and now we're seeing a reversal on that. I think they're going to be looking for the truth underneath the lies. I think they're skeptical, which is good. I think they're skeptical about almost everything that comes from the authority, which is pretty good. I don't think you can bullshit them at this stage. Maybe after 10 years, 15 years go by, that COVID is forgotten about. Maybe the liberals can make another hard push to censor, the colleges and, crack down on speech and delete Twitter. I don't know if Twitter even exists in 15 years, but right now I do think we have the movement. So yeah, even if they did shut down Twitter, there's also that. Right. There's that avenue, and they're the future of America. So they can create another platform or reopen Twitter once they're elected into office. Sure. So but it was looking very, very gloomy for a while, 5 years ago. If you would have told me that, like, hey, all those kids at Tulane, they're going to be the leaders of America soon. I'm like, oh God. Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
I can't wait.
Dude, COVID really woke me up too. Like, there was a point in my life where I didn't care. I was like, they can't do anything, because I'm a pretty chill guy. I was like, they can't do anything that's really going to affect my life that much. And then when they come in and shut down all the businesses and like, you need to wear a mask, you need to get your vaccine, I was like, hang on, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
Like, this isn't the world.
Out that all that's not effective.
Yeah, it's like, this isn't the world that I want to sleep in.
Now people are dying from vaccine shots, or something related to that. Allegedly, I have to say that for TV, right? Allegedly.
Dude, there was a guy that I stumbled upon a few weeks ago, and he was talking about quantum biology. And it's fascinating to listen to what he says and then also take into account the vaccine stuff. And I can't even start to describe what he's talking about.
Did you even know what he was talking about?
Dude, it was so far beyond what I'm
like, how do you mix that?
That's what I'm saying. He's talking about the different pathways in the brain and how light actually travels through the body.
Light,
bro. It was so incredible. But
so this is like the next level of chemistry.
Yeah, he's a brain surgeon. It's what he did for his entire life, and now he's coming out and going, okay, I've figured out how these pathways work and how light actually travels through the body and stuff.
Yeah, I think a lot of medical people go reach those same conclusions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my dentist also talks in a certain way. He's like, oh yeah, because the electrodes in the end of the nerve, bridge the gap and cause a positive charge, and then blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? You're just a dentist, dude. So
how does he know this shit?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you get him on the podcast?
Just ask him,
I don't know who he is.
Yeah.
You have to hook me up with
his
him, man.
His name is Lionel Richie, DDS.
Seriously?
Yeah, in Metairie, yeah.
Interesting. You have to reach out to him. I would love to have a dentist on the podcast.
He doesn't lean into it though, Well,
yeah,
and he
that's
goes,
the perfect person to discuss.
He goes by
it with.
Richard, Richard, like the French version of it.
Or you're saying he doesn't lean into his name, or he doesn't lean into
he doesn't lean into the marketing of
okay. I thought you meant the biology aspects.
Like, if that was my name, I would advertise my dental services with, hello, is it me, or is it teeth you're looking for, or something? I'd lean into it, but that's his name, and he's good. He's great.
I'll reach out to Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
All right, my guy. I think we got to end it there. Do you want the people to find you anywhere?
No.
Okay. I mean, I always ask the question. I know how of a secret of a man you are. So, but I do appreciate you coming on today, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the conversation. We'll do this many more times in the future, and I'll try to set you up with a liberal to discuss things with.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
And never stop goth popping.